Welcome back to the Altium Designer Quick Start series. Now that we've finished routing the PCB, it's essential that we do the design rule checks, or DRCs. This is required to ensure that the board meets all of our design rules to help and aid in fabrication and/or assembly. Design rule checks can be run in a couple of ways. Let's start by running the design rule checker and running them all in batch mode at the same time. To do so, let's open up the Design Rule Checker from the Tools drop-down menu. Clicking on the Rules to Check entry, we see the rules listed on the right. Of interest is the online versus batch checkboxes for each rule listed. If a particular rule does not have a checkbox, in this example, Assembly Test Point Style, it will not be checked at all. Please ensure that all the rules needed have a checked box. For this exercise, the DRCs for test points and signal integrity, as well as a few other rules, are not enabled. We are not concerning ourselves with these rules for our rather simple design. To run the DRC check, click on the Run Design Rule Check button on the bottom left of the window. This will run all the enabled rules and create a report. We can see a number of errors listed here. To dive deeper into a particular error, we can simply click on the rule, jump to its listing, and then on the listing, we click on it to jump to the location of the error on the PCB. We see the double slash and a connection trace showing us that the net is not connected. This was an error that I added to show how to find and fix errors. Extending the trace fixes that error. I typically use the PCB Rules and Violations panel when I'm starting the checking on my PC board. The panel is accessed by opening it up through the Panels tab. Let's select the unrouted net. You can see the old violation. We can rerun just this rule from the panel by right-clicking on the rule and selecting Run. Now you can see the violation panel is cleared. The error icon still showing in our view is the net antenna violation, which, if we rerun that rule, will clear. Net antennas are unterminated tracks that would behave as an antenna if left. It's always a good practice to eliminate them. We can clear all the violation highlighting by clicking on the Tools pull-down menu and selecting Reset Error Markers. We could run all of the DRC checks by right-clicking on the All Rules entry. Normally, I run through the significant rules one at a time when I'm starting checking on a board. The short list that I follow is unrouted net, width constraint, short circuit, net antenna, clearance and component clearance, then board outline clearance. It's very important prior to submitting a board for fabrication, to always run all the rules to review any violations and, if needed, waive those instances that are not real issues. Oftentimes, I waive the footprint-based silkscreen-related violations, such as silk-to-silk solder mask rule, due to their being generated by the large setting in the default rules. To waive a violation, select it in the Violation panel pane. We can also select multiple entries by clicking on the first one and then shift-clicking on the bottom one and waive them at the same time. You can right-click on it and pick Waive Selected Violations. Adding a note can be helpful later when reviewing the design prior to release to fab. Now we have a Violations and Waived Violation sections. The next check we will show is the board outline clearance. Again, this rule is important to ensure that the board can be excised from the larger PCB fab house panel without causing shorts or issues. In this case, it was the silkscreen that was running off the edge. Let's just move it over. The last one we'll look at is the silk-to-silk clearance. In this case, we see the R20, R21 text are too close. Moving the text fixes this error. After moving the text, we are still in what's called mask mode. This allows the errors to be highlighted and easily seen. To clear us from this mode, use the Shift-C. Now, clicking on the All Rules entry, we see a few things that we can ignore, such as minimum solder mask sliver constraint. Again, that's due to the footprints. We'll select all of those errors and waive them. Now that we've gone through all the first pass DRC checks, I would normally run the entire set of DRCs and recheck the results before sending the board to fabrication. Again, this could be done via the PCB Rules and Violations panel, or to generate a full report, we could have gone to the Design Rule Checker from the Tools pull-down menu. With all the rules verified or waived, we are ready to generate the fabrication files. In our next video, we will generate the needed files for fabrication and assembly.